Hello and welcome to more awesome collection. Continuing on with classic toys. I do these every 3 days. Something from toy line, usually from the 60s and 70s. This is the Major Matt Mason toy line. I've been featuring these. And this is the coloring book that came out in conjunction with very cool cover artwork. And we'll take a look inside here. This is from 1968. Whitman. They made tons and tons of books and things for kids, puzzles, coloring. Authorized. Major Matt Mason. Look at that. 29 cents. There's Sergeant Storm with the Rotojet gun. Very cool. That was featured on Lost in Space, and Mattel made that. And there's Matt Mason himself. And they show the cat track or lunar track, but they're showing it in the promotional artwork. They didn't make it like that. We've seen that there. Major Matt Mason. Excuse me. A registered trademark of Mattel Inc. for its doll. Excuse me, you mean action figure used under license from Mattel Inc. And there's Captain Laser. Now we've seen these. I've shown these. Mint in the box, mint in the card, and so forth. So we've gotten to know the characters. Some artists there. AA. There's the border. And then the back. Very cool, very nice. And then take a look in here. This one is almost unused. You can see it's got a nice brown patina. Drawings by Dan Spiegel and Al Anderson, so that must be the AA. I guess AA got the cover and Dan Spiegel didn't. 1968. Take a look here. So it was a story and then plenty of things to color. They show items that were in the toy line, and then since it was fanciful, things that weren't. I won't read this to you. I'll just flip through. Helmets, hard to get. Nice helmets without the visor cracks and stuff. Usually, to get a good helmet, it's around $40 to get one loose. And if you get a figure with it with a good one. Sometimes they crack, sometimes the visor's completely missing. And a real mint one would have there were stickers you could put on them, like a number 3 and so forth on there. Sergeant Storm. Did you have coloring books as a kid? There's the Astro Track. That's a real vehicle. I did a video on that in the box. It had big foam wheels and then hard plastic and worked on one battery. That was new for that year. There's Captain Laser. He's a giant. He's like over 12 inches tall. Matt's a 6-inch bendy. Training Center, they never made that. They have their regular space station, but that not. That's cool. So any of you artists out there, this would be nice to see how they do it in line drawing. Whitman also did the Big Little Book. Here's a couple of the colored pages. And thankfully, whoever did this, if it was a child, did colors that were somewhat acceptable and basically within the lines. So that's not too bad. That's the satellite launcher. I have that. A very cool accessory. There's the rocket blast stuff. So it's kind of serving as, oh yeah, do you have this one? Do you have that one? So it's advertising the toys. There's the space crawler. I haven't done a video on that, but that's one of the most common vehicles. And they didn't do that particular hauler type thing that they're showing there. There's the moon suit. We've seen that, and got case fresh mint on card of that. Setting up a camp. So this was very big. A lot of folks say, oh, I don't remember Matt Mason, that's okay, because you're in the majority that way. A lot of folks don't. This was the big toy line, only to be eclipsed by Hot Wheels, and then Mattel would abandon the space thing in the early 70s. There's the space station. Very cool. I've shown some of those, and they have a lot of those set up. So Major Matt Mason is always in a white astronaut suit. Sergeant Storm is in the red. And this is, I think, but before they have the other astronauts, so we'll see as the story goes if they mention either of the other two. And I don't think they're showing Callisto yet. That's cool. The space sleds. Showing how to grow food. That was the whole thing. We were going to be doing this. We were going to be doing that on the moon. None of it ever came to pass. So all the kids that had Matt Mason and these toys, they could look at that, see this, and have a lot of fun. This one I really love, the Rocano jet. That was newer here. And see, you showing the camera. That came as a extra. There's a lot of little handheld silver tools and things for him. He's flying around. That was cool because when you look through that, that was colored like a red see-through plastic, so you could look down. So that was fun. The moon craters in one of the Sears sets, they gave you a vinyl plastic mat with some hard plastic craters that you could set up. Sorry if this is going on too long. For most people already quit, but for anybody that's still with me, and we're going to continue on and look at it all. I haven't looked at it ahead of time, so I haven't looked at this in a long time, so it's cool to see that it's a whole cool story. Was comic book. All right, someone did some more pages there. Quarters, back at the base. Said the colors not too bad, and then they're kind of neat. They don't really fit two people on there, so. Yeah, this one's not that great, but all right. It's hard to get completely unused coloring books, or what they call mint. Sometimes you can get them what they call file copies, where they were from the company or whatever, and they were never used, and they're very expensive no matter what it was. So many different Whitman coloring books, and they continued on well through the 80s, and I don't know if it continued past that. There's the space cannon. I love that vehicle. Very cool. Talked about that. It can fit multiple astronauts, and it can even fit Captain Laser, can sit on it by himself. He's big. Yeah, so the kids can look and say, do I have this? Do I have that? There was no regular comic book, oh, there was a comic book ad in some of the DC comics. I believe I have that. You can show that sometime, a full page color ad. And of course there was no cartoon. That was before there was always a cartoon for the toy line. There's some kind of fanciful alien that was just in the artwork of this story. Strange creatures. So the three aliens in the line were Captain Laser, Callisto, and Scorpio. And of those two, Callisto and Scorpio worked with them. And Callisto and Captain Laser worked with them, and then Scorpio was an oddity, came out at the very end, so was he friend or foe? That's up to the kids. There he's got his laser wands. They're very cool because he lights up and has sound because batteries go in his backpack. We're getting close to the end there. The moon. So you can see this, how this could have been a cartoon taking this story. And they got a cool story, and that's colored in, if you're familiar with the Big Little books, they made those since I think the 40s or maybe even the 30s, and they went into the 70s or maybe 80s. Nice books that you can read. And on every other page or so, there was a little colored artwork. It's a cool one on the Fantastic Four. I should dig that out someday and show that. It was from the 1960s. Enemy is destroyed. Well, climbing back on there. Mission accomplished. So on here, they could stand a few of them there. And like I say, or he could sit this way, but when he was sitting that way, they can't ride on it too. So that's the story of Major Matt Mason and the coloring book story. Authorized, you know, by Mattel, 1968. Alrighty, until next time, more awesome collection, classic toys. Thanks for liking and subscribing.